goal isn't to live forever. The goal is to create something that will.
Welcome to Perspective, a podcast for wedding creators where we sit down, often with a special guest, and talk about our many years of experience in the wedding industry so that you can learn from us and grow your wedding business. And who are we? I am Simon, and this is Greg Arena, who loves margaritas. Together, we are Cinemate Films, Scottish-based wedding filmmakers, and we've teamed up with Photography Farm to bring you 6 special episodes of this podcast in anticipation of Thrive 2023, which is an all-star wedding photography workshop taught by 6 phenomenal mentors. This episode is, of course, sponsored by With Jack, but I will get into that a little bit later in the show. However, Greg, who are we talking to?
We are talking to Igor Demba.
Hey.
Hey, Igor. How are you?
Guys, how are you? Thank you so much for having me here.
Our pleasure.
Yeah. So tell us about yourself. Who are you and what do you do?
Who am I? I'm a destination wedding photographer based in the UK. And yes, I've been capturing weddings for probably a good 13 years plus. And I absolutely love it with that experience, I guess. I'm also an educator, so I love to educate other photographers on how to level up their business, whether that's through taking the images, editing, business side of things. So yes, here I am. I'm going to speak at Thrive next week.
Yeah.
It's come so soon,
I know.
so quickly. So yes, I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Simon said in anticipation of Thrive, but
I know.
the anticipation's over because when this episode comes out, it's today.
I know.
The first day of Brighton will be Monday, and when this episode comes out, it will be Monday.
Yeah, it's come by super
Yeah.
quick, and I'm super just looking forward to it, to be honest.
So what have you been up to recently? Have you been shooting yet this year?
Yes, for the first time ever, I actually had a wedding in January. I usually don't tend to have weddings in January. So yeah, I had a wedding in January, which was great. And I've been doing quite a lot of recordings, whether that's for podcasts, whether that's for my own online education stuff, and literally just released presets this week. So yeah, things are raring to go. Things are happening, and on top of that, weddings. So yeah.
I noticed that you had started selling your presets. How's the sale going? Much interest?
It's going well. It's going well. So yeah, it's one of those things that I've always been reluctant to selling presets, you know, because I guess I'm really, really passionate about the educational side of things and passionate about people finding their own style. And I find that presets sometimes can very much box you in and makes the whole industry look the same. So yeah, I had been quite reluctant to do that. But I guess over the last couple of years, especially honing in with other photographers into how to create their own style, the presets have been a massive help, really. So it just made sense really to drop the preset, but with an educational element to it, really. So yes, there's a class within the presets pack, and that very much, I would say, brings the educational side and the differentiating factor in terms of how photographers can bring their own voice to it, really.
Yeah, that's
I think
awesome.
That's a good way of doing it because, people can just fall into the habit of, I'm just going to buy this preset and it will just fix everything.
Yeah.
But it's not. It's a case of you need to buy a preset and tweak it to suit what you want to do with it.
Yeah,
So having education along with it will probably be quite good for that.
Yeah, and it's very much part of my character. Whenever I've bought presets in the past, I've always wanted to see what's under the hood.
Right.
What's this doing? What's that doing? And that's how I've learned, really. So people should very much be doing that, because that's how you very much find out the things that you like, the things that you don't like, and yeah, your style very much develops through that.
Yeah. So tell us, very quickly, for the people who haven't had a look at your presets, what are they going to be like? What's unique about them? Why should people download them?
They're very versatile. Me being a destination photographer, the one thing that I love about them is that you can literally shoot anywhere in the world because light does change. You might be shooting a wedding in the US or California, Hawaii, wherever, in comparison to that and it's harsh light in those locations, let's say, in comparison to shooting a wedding in the Cotswolds or Oxford, where there is harsh light, but the light is very different still. I find that the presets bring a good uniformity. It's very consistent. And I guess that's been honed in over the years, really. So yeah, it is the preset that I use for my own editing. So that goes about to say it, really.
Yeah.
And
cool.
Yeah. The other thing I guess I would say would be a complement skin tones. Skin tones is a big thing for me. So yeah.
Very cool. I kind of like the casual aspect of how we were just chatting last week, Greg. So I'll ask you the question. What have you been up to?
What have I been up to? I've not been up to much this week.
Riveting chat.
When visited some family at the weekend, that was it.
Oh, yeah.
Nothing exciting. Pretty boring.
Pretty boring, what?
Yeah.
Oh, that's fine.
What about yourself?
Man, I have been delving into the world of journaling, which is fun. So I've started journaling, which is cool. But I don't know, should I say this? So we're working on a secret project at the moment. Something that isn't my skill set, but I'm doing it anyway, just for shits and giggles. So yeah, I've been looking at past books. Obviously, Taylor Jackson had released his book, so we bought that, and I'm now starting that book. I've been rediscovering Austin Kleon, who, I don't know if you remember, he did the Steal Like an Artist, Keep Going books.
Show your work.
Show your work. Yes, exactly. I'm a huge fan of his style of writing and journaling. So yeah, I've been doing that, which is fun. It's And what have you been doing, Igor?
What have I been doing this week? This week has been very much family time.
Ooh, I like family time.
Throughout the weekend, we had a birthday party, literally straight away at 9 a.m. Let's go, everybody out the house.
Oh yeah.
And then went to see the mother-in-law, which was lovely. And yeah, it's just been a good time with the girls. I find that over the past, especially the past year, really, our girls, they're 4 and 1. They're just growing up so quick, so quick. And I'm finding that time is escaping, really. So we're trying to carve in as much time as possible whenever we can with the weekends, because I guess next year Ava is going to go to school, and that's going to be a whole other change, really. Like we're dreading September. It's literally it'll be a change in our lives. So yeah, it'll be very much that family time. And yeah, with the whole preset launch thing, it's been very much gearing up throughout the whole week. So yeah, it's good stuff. Good week.
Yeah. Good. I'm glad to hear it. Well, tell us about yourself on a more personal level, Igor. What are your hobbies? I don't know. You've told us about your family.
Yeah.
What would you guys like to do together? Who? Yeah.
We love to go to farms. We've got a very much local farm here. So animals are a big thing for the girls.
Yeah.
And yeah, whenever we can, traveling, even though ever since we had Zara, so last year, that's not been happening quite often. But whenever we can sort of like travel together, that's been nice, really. But me individually, in terms of hobbies, that's a hard one, because I find that the hobbies very much sort of like blend into what I do anyway, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, but usually it tends to be something visual. For wind down time, I love YouTube. I love studying YouTube. I'd love to start a YouTube channel at some point.
You're already on YouTube. You're already on it. What are you talking about?
Yes, with another idea we are, but starting my own thing individually, yes.
Ooh, exciting.
But at the same time, movies and TV series are a massive thing. I find great inspiration within that, even though it's one of the things that you can very much sit down and wind down. I find that sometimes, it depends what I'm watching, really, but I find that most of the times I'm analyzing everything really. My brain's just going and composition and lighting and
Are you as much of a nightmare as me when you're with the family and you're like, this person's going to do that because the story's arching up to this? And
you can very much tell what's going to happen, can't you? So Zion very much, but most of the time Zion is actually quite grateful for it.
Okay.
But at the same time, I tend to internalize those thoughts most of the times because otherwise it's just too much.
Oh, you're wise. You're wiser than me. I say everything aloud.
You're right though. There's some things you can switch off with though, because I tell a lie. I did do something recently. I went to the cinema to see Scream 6.
Oh yes.
My partner loves Scream, the Scream franchise, so went to see that, and that's a film that you just switch off. You don't analyze the lighting that much or the story. You try and guess who done it, but that's it.
Yeah. Fair enough. Are you watching any other good programs at the moment? You mentioned television series.
At the moment, The Last of Us. The Last of Us is absolutely incredible. What a TV series. It's a roller coaster in terms of like the characters in the first place. But yeah, I love the whole apocalyptic side of things. Like anything sci-fi, I'm there, to be fair.
Yeah.
So yeah, to have that apocalyptic sense to it is amazing. Yeah, bring me zombies.
Bring me zombies. So, some are saying that we need more zombies in that show.
It's true. It's true. That's what I like about it in some ways, because you've had TV series and I guess the big one really has been The Walking Dead really in terms of like zombie movies, but or TV series really, which has been on the other side of the spectrum, which is you always get quite a lot of zombies within that thing, whereas The Last of Us very much focuses on the characters. That's what I love about it. So yeah, it's incredible. If you haven't seen it, go for it, definitely.
Yeah. Sam mentioned it as well in his podcast. Simon's been talking about it in the office a lot, so I only just started watching it recently and loving it. Yeah, I like the pace of the amount of zombies in it. It's definitely refreshing to not have too many.
The fans are actually correcting. They're shouting at you, Greg. They're not zombies. They're clickers. And other.
Are they all clickers? Is it not just the ones in the dark that are clickers?
Only the ones in the dark. You're absolutely right, but they've all got their. Oh man, the sound design. The sound design. Igor. The sound design is so good in that show. Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah. Anyway, how are your bookings looking for this year and next year? Because it's
for year and this year, next year.
Yeah, it's an interesting kind of thing to look at, because I think a lot of people out there are kind of struggling at the moment.
Yeah.
Whereas others are filling their books quite quickly. So it's interesting that there's so much of a variance. But how are your business books looking?
My bookings are looking quite slow. What I'm finding is that clients are coming in, but they're coming in very much last minute. I'm booking weddings now still for July, for May, which is it's mental really. Yeah. But I guess it's the one thing about COVID really, and I guess it depends what sort of like market you are within the industry really. But yes, I find that clients have been a bit more sporadic. The ones that have the budget really to go for it tend to be very much last minute. And whereas for next year, it's looking good, yes. But at the same time, it's still slow to what it is in comparison to what it's been previously.
Yeah.
I guess that's the comparison that I should make really, because 2019 was probably my biggest year really, and then pandemic hit. And during the pandemic, I was still shooting, which was incredible really, but yeah, very much micro wedding, everything changed really. And whereas now there's still an element of micro weddings, which I find quite great. I'm really loving that, especially being a destination wedding photographer, where you can very much find yourself shooting 2, 3, 4 days for a wedding. So to have those micro weddings that sometimes just end up being an hour or 2 hours, 3 hours, it's great, really. It's quite refreshing. But at the same time, it just means that you have to push yourself in being able to tell a story within that constrained amount of time. That's where I'm at in some ways. It's a slow year. Clients are coming in very last minute. But at the same time, it's looking good. It is looking good. Especially from this month onwards, really, and hence why I had a wedding in January, really, because it's been so last minute, really.
Yeah. And how are you dealing with the change in way people are bookings, like mentally and emotionally? How are you sort of managing to cope with that?
It has meant that cash flow has been sort of like a tightrope, really. You kind of like have to adapt, really, and in some ways, from January until I knew it. Looking at the books, looking at the diary, I knew that from January until April, say, cash flow would be sort of like up and down, and not the consistent level that I'm used to and like to. Whereas from April onwards, it's go time. I absolutely love that. So yes, so yeah, that's been one massive thing, really, to adapt and change within the business, really, just to really be a bit more conservative with certain things. In terms of just spending in the business in general, really, it's been a lot less than what it usually is. Other things that I might have changed, just packages in general, really, just being a bit more flexible in terms of allowing shorter packages, because that's what the market wants at the moment. So yeah, that's been a massive one.
Yeah. That's cool. And going back to that idea of like reducing the amount that you're spending in business, am I right in saying it's just you in your business? It's not like like there's two of us here, and I'm constantly going, "Hey, Greg, there's a cool new lens. Can we buy it?"
Damn you, Taylor Jackson.
Yeah, so Greg.
He's always bringing those great reviews.
He is always. Yeah. In fact, has anyone checked out his new website in a minute creation thing? I said those. Who am I, Yoda? I don't know. Yeah, have you seen it? No. Greg?
I saw his Instagram post about the new feature from Focal where they can build you a website with AI in less than a minute. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah. I wonder what type of website it would be. You know, is it going to have a character? Is it going to have characters? Is it going to have, is it?
I assume it's going to be fairly bare bones, and then you add your own personality from there. But it's interesting.
Well, the other day, we were in the office and I was telling everyone about the Chat AI, Chat GPT in particular. And so David over here was like, I'm just going to test this out. Let's try the winter wedding, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, it can even like put, tone into your stuff. He was like, write me a blog about this in winter, but sound like a pirate. And I wrote this pirate script and I just thought, man, that is hilarious. Anyway, I'm off topic. Sorry.
No. It is quite incredible. I did something very similar, and I think the only reason it could have done it is it's trawling through Instagram posts in terms of language. But I asked it to write a caption in the style of Igor Demba, and literally literally the first thing that it said was "What up, fam?" And I was like, wow, this is incredible. Absolutely incredible.
Oh my God. You know what? Let's say this to people. If you haven't checked out ChatGPT, you absolutely should. In particular, if you are like me and you struggle to write, in particular, my weakness is Instagram comments or
Captions.
not captions. That's the one. Because I tend to do all my social media like in one day or in 2 days and try and get it out for a few months. So to have that much content, coming out of my brain, like at the end of it, it's just like, this was a nice shot, and that's it. I mean, it's terrible. So just a wee tip there: try ChatGPT. You might come up with some cool stuff.
It is incredible.
Yeah.
I find as well that it's really good to use for things like tips and tricks. If you want 10 tips on how to shoot in winter low light or whatever it may be, ChatGPT has got your back really. It will spit out 10 points or whatever, however many points, and it is incredible. It is really incredible.
Just no one tell Sam Hurd, because I'm scared he's going to go on a goddamn tirade. But yeah, so let's talk about. I'm hitting all the buttons here. Let's talk about the fact that I know you mentioned that you want to do more YouTube, but you already have another idea with Sam Docker, who we've spoken to on the podcast. How is that going from your point of view?
It's been a journey and a half. We absolutely love it in terms of like growing as a business and growing individually as well in terms of hosting. It's just communicating, just being a great communicator. It's been a journey and a half, really. We said it from the get-go, massive props to anyone that goes on the news or TV really to really present something, and especially to do it live and be on your feet and in terms of your brain and being quick, like you guys are doing now. It's hard work. It takes skill, really, to be constantly analyzing what a guest is saying, where you want the conversation to go, and at the same time allow the space really for the conversation to flow without detracting from the points that you want to hit or that your guest wants to hit. So just from that point in itself has been incredible, really. In terms of the business side, has been great as well. We've learned so much in terms of how to monetize it, really, and we are at beginning stages. Just because I'm talking about it doesn't mean that we are absolutely massively successful and are raking in it. Definitely not. But yes, it's been a journey. It really, really has. But at the same time, it's something that we truly believe in, and it's one of those things that in our society where things come so quickly, we are very, very much playing the long game for it. So yeah.
And I think that's the right approach, because this is definitely the long game.
Yeah.
To have YouTube success, to have a podcast success. I mean, the amount of people who have come up to me since hearing that we do a podcast is, oh yeah, I've thought about doing a podcast. Holy shit! If you want some time to yourself, don't do a podcast. Like it is time consuming. Although I suppose you could do chat GPT and that would come up with some interesting questions. But I don't do that. I know you're thinking that. I do not do that. But yeah, so when we had Sam on the podcast, he was saying some really interesting things about you, Igor. Really interesting things.
What did he say?
I can't give it away. Do you have anything in particular that you like about Sam?
I love Sam. Sam is pretty much my photography husband. That's the best way of describing Sam.
And I suppose on the flip side, I have to ask you: is there anything that kind of gets on your nerves? Anything that you don't like about Sam? I mean, the fact that he doesn't like prosecco is a weird one.
Yeah,
but I don't know.
It is a weird one. That guy. It is a weird one. But yes, he likes the finer things in life, like champagne.
So classy.
No, absolutely love Sam. He's got such an entrepreneurial side to him that is so infectious, really. And I find that for a very, very long while, we've been wanting to do a YouTube channel together. That's how another idea started, really. so way before the pandemic, we would meet and sort of like think of how we would actually dream this up. And eventually he moved to his studio at Brickwork Studio, which is absolutely beautiful with such a great aesthetic. And it was a no-brainer. We very quickly realized that, it's got to be a podcast and it's got to be here really. It's got to be with a live guest because we want to be able to look into people's eyeballs, people's souls, and get deep into conversation really. So yes. And what else can I say about Sam? He's got an infectious personality, really. He really does. Really does. It's one of those guys that you gravitate to very, very easily. He's very relatable and very approachable. So yeah, if you're listening to this, go and hit him up.
Yeah, absolutely.
I really like listening to the chemistry between both of you, sort of on the episode.
Yeah. But the Ant and Dec of wedding photography. That's what we've been told.
Yeah.
Is there a Scottish version of that for us? Can we?
The Proclaimers.
Oh no, we're Jedward. Oh no.
I'm sure that we can find a better example there.
Yeah, I hope so.
But what? So you've got the podcast. You've done sort of speaking events and education. What have you learned from broadcasting your thoughts to the masses and putting your conversations out there?
Such a good question. I think that probably the number one thing is that there is no limitation. There is no ceiling really to what you can do with a business really. You just got to really, really think carefully, not even carefully, just dream up really. The things that you very much gravitate towards and how you can actually make that happen. And for me, it's been the education side of things. I absolutely love it. I love photographers, students coming out of a session and the brain is hurting really because they've got so many things that they want to implement. And in some ways, that's what we want for the podcast really. People coming out from it and just coming out with a sense of, there was so much value in that. There was so many golden nuggets that I can implement within my business. So yeah, I think that the one thing I've learned is that there's no ceiling really, that you can really, if you want to, I don't know, whatever sort of like business you want to integrate within your own business, you can very much do it. It's just finding clever ways of doing it really.
Yeah. Your talk at Thrive is about, it's creating your unique signature style. So why do you think people have to create their unique style and not just sort of replicate what someone else is doing?
I find that it's very easy to, first of all, just replicate, but I find that if you replicate, you're constantly going by someone else's standards. You are constantly going by someone else's look, and that changes like that. Really, it changes so quickly. So it would be in this case the masses of the industry that would very much be defining your style and how you go about, rather than you being introspective, analyzing yourself really. What are the things within myself and within my business that I really, really like, and how can I make them at the forefront of my business in order to attract the people that very much gravitate towards those things that are the things that I gravitate towards as well. It's they gravitate toward, you gravitate towards it, and you show that, and your clients will gravitate towards that, and eventually you'll just gel together simply because of that gravitational pull in some ways.
Yeah. I will say there's one person that everyone should copy. This guy called Igor Demba. His fucking presets are off the fucking chart. Go and download them. Seriously, go download them.
I like that guy.
How would you describe your unique style then? Like, how do you, if a client's asking you like, what's your style of photography or work, how would you describe it?
Good question. It's very much, I would say it's quite dreamy in the sense of it very much captures the mundane things in a creative, with a specific aesthetic. That's one of the things that I'm really, really proud of. That and in things, and in some ways, it's the power of photography, really, of being able to capture something from your everyday, day-to-day life, and somebody else looks at it and thinks, "Wow, that's incredible. I feel something about that. I don't know what it is." It's the artistic element of it. Like you perhaps look at a painting again, you very much feel pulled towards it. You don't know what it is, but you love it. So that dreamy sense, that gravitational sense, I very much find that it's there in my work, and my work very much gels or lends itself towards destination weddings because over the years I've very much honed in the fact that and I pride myself in it, and then say at the forefront really to clients that you can drop me literally anywhere. I know that I'll be able to create something beautiful from your day, from your landscapes, from the sky, from the location, from the venue, whatever it might be, really. I very much love to sort of like study lines, study compositions, and study textures and light. And within all of those things together, I can be very much dropped in anywhere and very much tell a story through that, really. And then comes the human element of it, really. I like to let things happen. Whilst there is a documentary style to it, really, I like to think that that is done in an artistic way, really. And I guess that comes with your aesthetic and how you select your images, what you show and what you don't show. So yes, that's a good way of seeing my style, really. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So is that the sort of order you look at things when you're capturing an image? Is it you want the light and composition to line up and then the emotion to come? Or like, what are you looking for when you're about to capture an image? What's important?
Very much so. I think you hit the nail on the head, really. Light, first of all, composition second, and even on the class for the presets, one of the things that I constantly find myself saying is that I'm a bit of a Stanley Kubrick fan, really, and the fact that the way he lines up things in his movies, it's incredible, really. So I find the light, find the composition, and then allow the couple to very much interact with that. And within that, I'll just move around. I'll move around and find ways of creating what I need to create, really. So yeah.
When you don't have control of like the elements, like the light or where you place the couple, what's your approach then to when you take an image that is like more of the live element of a wedding? Like what's your approach then?
You got to be relaxed about it. I find that I like to embrace the pressure. I find that it's the one thing that gets me going.
Okay.
Something without pressure, I can get a bit comfortable, really. Whereas with pressure, I really, really have to push myself. In some ways, that's why I love actually working with videographers, because I find myself very much trying completely different angles, completely different things.
Yeah.
And
is that just because we're in your way most of the time?
Yes, it is. It literally is. But I allow that. I do allow that. I very much say that, hey, we're here together to bring Jack and Jill's capture and just bring the best that we can for them, really. So don't be afraid of getting in my way or taking time for taking turns, whatever it may be, really, for them to set up their shots. So yeah, I do that intentionally, literally, because I know that whilst you guys are getting what you are getting, I'll be working in the background trying to cram in something different, really. So yes, when you have restrictions like that, like you said, whether it might be the weather, but whether it might be the lights, I love that. It just means that you gotta have sort of like your back pocket, let's say, directions or poses that sometimes if your brain goes blank, you know that you can go back to that straight away, and gives you time to recompose. And okay, we're in it now. Now I can flow in it a little bit more.
Nice.
Whether it's working with LEDs for different lights, and I find that it's very much teamwork. It is very much teamwork, and allowing as well couples to very much bring their ideas. It's one of the things that has very much changed the way I work over the years when it comes to restrictions, because sometimes you get, most of the times, but sometimes you don't really, but most of the times I tend to get clients that are creatives themselves, and they appreciate the sense of creativity that I bring to the table, but they are creatives themselves and they have their opinions. Hey Igor, have you thought about this? Especially the grooms. They absolutely love it.
Yeah, that's cool.
Absolutely love it. So bringing that sense of teamwork can very much help that as well.
I love your positive spin on that, because I think a lot of people, photographers and filmmakers, often complain about the difficult situations that you're put into. Like, oh man, the venue is really dark, or the photographer's gotten on, like he's in the middle of the aisle for this shot, and look at them, they're posting stuff online. And I think people just need to flip their perspective on certain situations to be more positive. And it's I can't remember what the line is. Is it amor fati? Is it Latin or Greek? It's like a philosophy, whereas you appreciate every situation you've been put into, because every situation you are put into, there is something to be learned or something positive to be gained. And
it's a good mindset to have.
It is a good mindset. It's definitely a good mindset. So I think maybe more of us should be, more positive thinking. So thank you. Let's talk about what you want out of wedding photography. What is it?
Wow. What I want from wedding photography. I guess, the number one, it's hard. It's hard, this one, because I've got two ones that sort of like two things that fight each other. The one number one, in some ways, what it should be, and I'll be honest, what it should be really is to bring, and in some ways they complement each other. But number one should be in some ways just bringing an absolute kick-ass experience for your clients together with the images. It really should be that, because those are the things that you'll be able to, once you've done that, it'll just bring in more work and create a fruitful business, really. But then the artist within me sort of like says, I want to create work that makes my heart sing. Not necessarily the client, but my heart sings. Like work that I look at and it's just like, yes. And some clients might not want that. Some clients might not like that. Some of that specific work, really. But so yes, it's a sort of like a balance between the two, really. And I find that at the same time, the more I create work that I'm really, really proud of, again, the couples that very much gravitate towards that work are the ones that are going to book you. They're the ones that are very much going to, see what you see within your work, really. So those are the two things that I really want to see in wedding photography. Is there any more? Do you mean in general? I should have asked, really. Do you mean in general within myself or within the industry?
Well, that was going to be our next question. Like, what is your thoughts on the wedding industry? But I just meant more like what personally drives you towards wedding photography, whether that be money or you want to be creative or you want to help couples live their best life and have the best wedding.
Yeah.
And there's no right or wrong answer.
I think you pretty much covered that.
Yeah, you did, yeah.
Give your sort of opinion on what you're doing wedding photography for.
Yeah,
What is your sort of thoughts on the wedding industry just now? Because you've been in the industry for quite a few years, so how do you feel about it just now and where it is?
I find it exciting. I find that it's at a point now that it's really changing. There's a lot of new people coming into the industry, with a sort of like fresh blood attitude towards the industry, especially the way wedding photography looks like. You can be very much quite apprehensive about it in the sense of, more people are coming in and it's going to inundate the industry. It's always going to be a saturated industry. That's end off. But the ones that are really going to be able to really stand out from it are the ones that, again, very much create their unique style. They very much set themselves apart, really. And I love that. I love to see I think it's the artist element that, or like answering the previous question, it's the creative element of it, it's the artistry element of it that I really, really love about the industry. That you got people with so many different voices, so many different styles, and that's incredible. We should be incredibly proud of our industry, the fact that we are able to bring so much variety, so much goodness, so much different styles really to it. Because and because there's so much saturation. So I love to see those people literally that are very much carve their own niche and very much do their own thing, because it's an example for everybody else in some ways. So yeah, it's exciting times for the industry. I find that especially after the pandemic, people very much going through the things of reevaluating their priorities and what they want to do within jobs, people being made redundant and everything else. There's been an influx within the industry, really. So yeah, if you're listening to this and finding yourself in that sort of like situation, I would say just go for it. Really try to find out what you really gravitate towards, what really are the things that you love, because those are the people that really will be able to create successful businesses, at least from an artistry point of view, because then comes the whole business side of things, really, which is a completely whole other beast, really. So yeah.
Can you tell me any challenges that you've personally faced, or like obstacles you've had to overcome with your years of experience in the wedding industry?
Such a good question. Such a hard question as well. I'd have to really, really think about it. You put me on the spot. You very much put me on the spot.
Sorry.
No. I'll have to think about it. I'll come back to it.
You'll come back? All right. Okay. I'll ask you another question. We can come back to it. I'm gonna make a note. So for our viewers out there, you might notice that I'm writing with a pen and paper. It's because I forgot my laptop today. Because I'm a fool.
Amateur.
That's because I'm a fool. Do you know why I forgot, Greg? Because yesterday I went to save my wife from a flat tire.
I know.
And I left my laptop in the car, which is at home.
It makes you look very professional, though.
Yeah. Oh, yes. In fact, we can do the
news
whole...
reporter.
Yeah, we can do the whole news reporter thing after the podcast. Anyway, back on topic. This is a question that I've asked all our guests from Thrive, but who do you... and you've alluded to it a little bit. Who do you shoot for more? Yourself or the client?
I would say it's a good 60-40. 60 client, 40 me, really.
Okay.
but at the same time, I found, especially over the years, the more I've sort of like I said beforehand, the more I've shot for myself, the more I've created the images that I gravitate towards, the more clients have loved it.
Yeah.
Yet at the same time, you've got. I see it very much as a teamwork, really. So whenever I sit down with clients before the wedding, I very much want to know the things that they gravitate towards within my work, but they gravitate towards perhaps other people's work. I really want to get into their brain to see what is their sort of like visual aesthetic. At the same time, I do ask what they don't like. And I might be in some way shooting myself in the foot a little bit, but I want to know what are the things that they don't like. That I want to know the things that perhaps are pet peeves whenever they see images online, really. So yeah. But within that question, you can very much find out a lot from your clients. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think the client's needs are important to discover even before you've shot the wedding. So, yeah, if you're listening thinking, oh, I need to really know more than just the location and times, start asking questions, start being social with them on social media, or, yeah. Got any other tips as to how they would do that?
I'm a good Instagram stalker. Even for the podcast, we've started calling it Igor's Deep Dives.
Yeah.
Because I will find out most things about your life, and
he knows everything about you, the person listening. He's even watching you right now.
It's true though. I do think that I would be a good private investigator if I had a chance of doing it. But no, find out as much as possible about your clients, really. If you can just analyze the way that they sort of like present themselves online. That's a massive one, really, because we all like to be presented one way or another. You might think that you don't, but you very much do. So that's one way. Sometimes certain clients are very much adamant about being shot on one side of the face. And learning that can get you very much kudos points. It's within the details, really. I find that very much helps. At the same time, especially during the day, I find that it's really, really important to very much connect with the people that are closest to the couple. Not just simply the parents or siblings, but sometimes that 80-year-old aunt that they don't tend to see very often, and just strike up a conversation, really, just see what gets her ticking, and very much perhaps spend 5 minutes of conversation, so she actually relaxes around you, and then you'll be able to grab a great candid shot of her, or whoever else it might be, really. Just very much being invested within your clients and those around them, because those are the images, really, that again, they will very much treasure. It's part of that 60%, if that makes sense.
Yeah no, totally. The fact that you should blend in is definitely key. I mean, that's what I found during the wedding day, is I do take that technique where I'm chatting to people. And I used to be so silent on a wedding day and just be like, I'm getting my shot. I'm getting this shot. Not even thinking about stuff and just getting the shot. And I'd miss moments all the time. Miss moments, miss hugs, miss things, because I was getting shots of tables or something like that. So random.
Yeah.
It's just, so definitely blend in with people, chat to them. And it's always funny as I don't know if you felt this way, guys, but when you're at a wedding like the way I used to view it is, I'm in a family, but everyone knows each other. But that is not the case. Most people have no idea about anyone else around them.
Yeah, at a wedding, most people only know like 10% of the other people there.
Yeah. So think about that. Like you can not just be a supplier, you can be a guest.
A guest. Yeah,
you could,
100%.
yeah, so take that approach and, blend in and get some, don't be the camera person. Be you.
The amount of times that I've gotten the comment of, so you're the wedding photographer. I thought you were a guest.
Yeah.
Has
Ideal.
been so many times.
Yeah.
So many times. Simply because, first of all, I come dressed as a guest. My gear is very minimal, so I like to just shoot with a single body. And during the ceremony, yes, I'll have two bodies, but that aside, really, I'll try to just keep it very minimal, really.
Yeah.
And it just means that you're moving around in and out and within conversation. And in some ways, Simon, you made me think of the fact that for many years, I had, yes, I am a solo shooter, but for many years I had been very much adamant that no, it's me and that's it. It's me shooting it. They're booking Igor Demba, they're getting Igor Demba, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But the more I've started using second shooters, I've loved it because it allows the space to very much, they can run around and get those sort of like shots that are very much needed for the day, but I can very much mingle around and just get the things that connect to the couple and at the same time connect to me as well in some ways. So yeah, that would be another way of sort of like doing it and bridging the gap, really.
Hell yeah. I love that. Yeah. So be more friendly. If you want to hear more perspective, you can join us on YouTube at youtube.com/@perspective by Cinemate. I didn't write down in these notes, so I'm good. I'm glad I have some sort of memory. And why should you listen to this podcast? We were speaking to Sam Docker about, and it was only a couple of weeks ago, about how when you go to, a wedding workshop and you are looking to be inspired or you're looking to improve, that it might only just be one nugget of information. One nugget that will totally change your perspective about things. This is a 2-hour conversation that we have with our guests most of the time. If there's not one fucking nugget in there for you, then I don't know what you're doing. So listen to the podcast because it's bloody good information. We talk to so many fucking good people on this podcast. Anyway, and by the way, book your tickets to Thrive because you need some inspiration.
They're already at Thrive.
Well, they're already... If you're listening to this, you're already at Thrive. Well done. Well done.
Hey, I'm Ashley from With Jack. I'm one of the sponsors of the Perspective podcast. With Jack helps to keep photographers in business by supporting them financially and legally if they have problems with a client or they make a mistake in their work. We've all had that fear of our CF card or our hard drive failing and losing important photos. You can find out more at withjack.co.uk. Head over there and find out how we can help you be a confident creative.
Igor, what is a signature style?
A signature style would be something that, first of all, it's you and it's unique. It's one of those things that you can't replicate, and so many times, like we said in the past, people try to sort of like, I would love to shoot like so and so and have images like so and so. Whereas if you very much hone into the things that you personally very much like and gravitate towards, whether that is stylistic or whether that's in terms of how you present your business, the language that you use, the clothes that you wear, if you very much own that and simply be you, you can very much create that unique style that very much separates you from the rest of of the industry, really. And I think that there's so many wedding photographers out there that do it and do it well. But the one that comes to mind really clearly that is at Thrive and does it really well is Rebecca Carpenter. She's incredible at having that unique style, and it's simply because she's unashamedly herself, really.
Yeah.
That's it. That's literally it. And those are the creatives that really win. Those are the ones that really communicate well who they are, because they are unashamed of themselves, and they bring to the forefront of their business their own personality. And that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be bubbly and really confident within the way you speak or anything else like that. It just means that you have to be you, because Taylor Jackson, he's the perfect example of being an introvert within the industry, who again brings that introvert quirky side of him to the forefront of his business, his sarcastic humor to the forefront of his YouTube channel, and his communication in general, really, that you'll see something simple as a sign-up form. You'll see the sarcastic elements and his personality, really, that he has, the dry sense of humor and everything else. And that's Taylor to a T, really. And you gravitate towards that. And people that clients and photographers that they're very much like that will gravitate towards that. It's easy to say it, but in order to do it, a lot of introspective needs to happen. And in some ways, that's the Thrive talk, really. How you can actually go through that introspection, really, in order to bring the best you to the forefront of your business, really.
It's interesting that you said, so I know you were going to ask the next question, but it's interesting that you mentioned the fact that Taylor Jackson is an introvert, and he's very clearly an introvert. He writes about this in his book, about how he didn't want the 9 to 5, but having this job allowed him to travel and be an introvert and be placed in situations where he could still be an introvert and be successful. And I think the misconception about, look at Rebecca. She is the most bubbly person you will fucking ever meet. And I love the fact that she's proud to be herself. But you don't think of many introverts who have that success being themselves. So I just want to put it out there that you can be introverted 100% and still be a wedding photographer and still be successful and still be, yourself and liked on a wedding day. There is a place for you. So don't feel like just because you're not extroverted that, that's going to hinder you in business. It's absolutely not. And if you're telling yourself that, it's just your mindset. So flip it.
Yeah, very much flip it. And the reality is that the examples are out there. You just need to, again, study the industry. Another perfect example is Ed Pearce. Ed Pearce has been in the industry for so many years.
Yeah.
And if you watch Ed shooting, and even his style itself of communicating and how he shows himself online, it's very introverted. It's very quiet, very still. But that also reflects in its work, and it's beautiful. Again, he puts very much that at the forefront, and like you said, Simon, and shy away from that. If that's you, and be proud of it, and again, bring it to the forefront of your business, really.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look at Greg. He's successful.
Am I? I am. You talked about trying to get the 60-40 balance for your couple, shooting for your couple versus shooting for yourself. And on a previous episode, we talked to Ryan Muirhead about sort of his shooting style versus how he feels like it's awkward. He finds it awkward being paid to document an event. So like he feels he would have to adapt. What's your thoughts on the balance of keeping your shooting style while also documenting the couple's event?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think that over the years it has changed. Initially, I'll be very much, because I love to study photographers. I love to study styles. I love to study the creative element side of things, coming from a graphic design background, really. I love to break down things, really. So initially, I'll be very much like, no, you got to have your own voice and you got to do things and bring things to the... It's the artist within. Come on, let's go. Very much like that. I'll be very much like that. And in some ways, part of me is still very much is. But the more I've shot, the more clients I've gotten over the years, I find that there's you got to be able to give within that, really. So yes, should a client come to me and say that I'd want something else within your style, I'd very much be happy to do it. There'll be a cost to it, because that's where the business element comes within it, really. Yeah. There'll be a cost to it, really, because I'd be very much deviating from the things that I'm used to doing, and that would take time. Simple as.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm very much willing to work with you and team up with you in order to create something together that we are both really, really proud of. And I find that working commercially, especially when you capture other things aside from weddings, that tends to happen a lot more often.
Yeah.
But for weddings, it doesn't happen often, but sometimes it does. It does happen very much, and I'm very much happy to embrace that. If you asked the question a few years ago, no, I wouldn't budge, really. But the business guy within me sees that as an opportunity to very much bring more business into the business, really. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Shifting a little bit, what do you think wedding photographers struggle with in terms of finding that unique style? Whether that be, shooting or even in post.
We live in a society that is so where visually things are so accessible, not even visually, educationally, things are just so accessible, and people just want things here and now. It's so much easier for you to look at a YouTube channel and here are the 10 steps to sort of like become a wedding photographer, rather than actually perhaps sitting down with someone, asking the questions and really diving deep, pushing things. And yeah, I could perhaps watch, here's the best way of saying it. I could watch a YouTube episode of whatever and 10 steps of becoming a wedding photographer. And yeah, okay, here we go. I can do that, rather than contacting that person and very much offering your services and, hey, can I second shoot with you? Can I do this? How can I get close to your business in order to learn as much as possible? So yeah, I find that information is so easily available that people sometimes just become lazy about it. So yeah, I said it before, but there's a lot of studying that people are missing out because of that, because there's so much information out there, really.
Yeah.
It's so easy to sort of like grab the first thing that you've found and run with it, rather than very much looking at the whole of the industry and seeing what are the things that really very much differentiate everybody, and how you as an artist or as a business can bring a different perspective to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Is there any like specific tips or advice that someone could implement to sort of slow down and start to analyze the whole industry? Like, how, if someone's trying to find that quick fix, how can they actually slow down and do that?
Learn how to break down images, if it is in terms of like an imagery point of view, really. Learn how to break down images and see what are the commonalities between those images, and literally list them. Get an Excel sheet out and list them. What are the things that constantly keep appearing within that style? Really, that very much says that's a Greg video, that's a Simon video, whatever it might be. List them, because you'll be able to see the patterns. In terms of business, in the past, I very much, it's the one big thing that I regret not doing sooner, is having mentors, because I could have cut so much time in terms of like the things that, or so many of the mistakes really that I've done in the past, really, in order to really grow the business. And I wouldn't say those would have been things visually. And this comes back to the question that you were saying previously, Simon, in terms of what are the things that I struggle within myself, within the business, really, or within wedding photography, really. And it has been the business side of it. It has been the money side of it, really. And being a good boss to myself, really. I'm bad at that.
Yeah.
I'm bad at that. So knowing that that's a weakness, bringing a mentor and bringing a support to that, it's a massive one. So in some ways, I guess what I'm saying is, find what your weaknesses are and try to sort of like elevate those weaknesses within, by bringing other people in that are further ahead of you within that element, really.
Yeah.
Because it's one of the things that the wedding industry is really, really good at. It's elevating other people.
Yeah.
Yes, it's very quick to tear down as well. Don't get me wrong.
Yes, there are sides of every social media that you see it all the time.
Exactly that. But at the same time, it's one of those industries that is very, very. It's very easy to DM someone and get a really great response, or response that is going to really help you to elevate whatever aspect you are looking to elevate within yourself, really. So yes.
I love that you brought that kind of almost like a personal weakness, that you spoke about that, because I think too many people are that way. They would never say such awful things to other people than we do ourselves to ourselves. And I think recognizing that is important, because man, we can be our total worst enemies as creative individuals, especially those of us who are, like I've got Greg, so I can look him. He's beautiful. I'll
give you all the criticism you want.
If I need criticism, or if I need words, he can give them to me. And if I, and vice versa. And, if I need a talking to or self-improvement, the communication's there for me. But for others, they would just take it out on themselves. And I think,
there's so many photographers that we know that are at the top of their game. They're creating amazing images, but they're so self-deprecating. They're like, oh, my work's not good enough. And you're like, what? How can you not see what everyone else is seeing?
I know, it's mind-blowing.
Crazy.
It's mind-blowing. Mm-hmm. So be kinder to yourselves. Let this year be the year that we are kinder to ourselves. Definitely. Igor, what would be a style that you'd like to see emerge again in the wedding industry? Or maybe not again. Reemerge. Come to the forefront, or something you'd like to see, a trend, something in the zeitgeist. What would you like to see? And Mike, if you say spot color, I'm hanging up on you right now. Let's never bring that back.
Oh man. More film photographers. I want to see more film photographers within our especially UK industry, because in the US you literally get so many, and you guys are sorted. You're cool. Don't worry. Whereas here in the UK, I find that there's not so many that tend to shoot film. And it's one of the things that I really, really appreciate. But at the same time, to do it well, you got to be rather successful, because it's rather expensive.
Yeah.
So I do get it.
Especially nowadays with the cost of like film nowadays, it's skyrocketing. It's crazy.
It is mental. It is quite mental how expensive it can be, really. So you got to be able to charge for it and charge for it well.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. The other thing is it's not necessarily a stylistic choice, but more of a sort of like type of photographer, which would be sort of like the more elopement nature photographer. I would love to see that more within the UK, and especially for the English side of it, I guess. We are not as fortunate as you guys in the Highlands.
Yeah, sorry.
That are able to very much bring those incredible locations, incredible nature, and really make that nature sing together with its subjects. It's one of the things that I really would love to see more within the UK.
Yeah.
Because we've got incredible places within England, really.
Yeah. You really do. I mean, I was just at the Lake District not too long ago. Beautiful place. I don't know, I mean, obviously not my circle, but I don't know any other Lake District photographers. Or, I mean, I'm sure there are, and I'm sorry if there are, and you're one of them listening. But what a lovely place. And I know there's others. I'm like, for goodness sake, why? Is it a legal thing, do you think, that's stopping the whole elopement scene from exploding?
Perhaps, yes. I would say that perhaps, because people would see it as very much as a, I don't know, fake wedding. That is changing within the industry, especially the whole idea of having a humanist service or ceremony, whatever you want to call it, really. They're bringing a side to the industry which are absolutely incredible. And I've had a few weddings like that, which have been just incredible in terms of the sense of emotion and what they bring to the table is just incredible, really. And it is definitely a trend where couples literally just do the legal bits within a registry office and then go for something else within an experience. Whether that might be within the city or whether that might be somewhere out there in the nature, really. But what I would really like to see is the whole nature element elevated and more within the UK industry, really. And you hit the nail on the head there with the Lake District. Lake District is one of those places that has got all of that, really. I did a workshop there a good 4 or 5, if not 6 years ago now, and I've got some incredible images from that together with the students. And as you said that, I'm like, I'm pretty confident, having the pulse in the industry that I do, that there's not many Lake District, I can confidently say that there's not one like the Lake District wedding photographer, if you know what I mean.
No, totally.
So there's that gap, really, that you could very much, if you're listening to this, that you could fill in, because it's doable. It's very much doable, and it's something that I think that our market or our industry is very much missing out on.
Yeah, totally. Is there a professional body who are pushing for humanist services, like legal humanist ceremonies down in England? Do you know?
I don't know. I wouldn't be able to answer that, but
interesting.
There is a humanist body.
Yes, there is.
But I probably would think that they would. There's the pros and cons within that, really. Because it could, in some ways, detract from the element that the humanist celebrants bring to the table, really. But really.
All right, cool. And quick question: I want to go back to the film photographers not the film photographers, but the idea of film photographers becoming more popular. Are there any in particular film photographers that you know of that you enjoy the work of that you think other people should check out?
Yeah, 100%. So many. I guess within the industry, the one that comes to mind, you've got Nirav Patel in the US, who's absolutely incredible. His work is just beautiful. And he shoots films and shoots digitally as well. But his film work, which most of the work is actually, funnily enough, is not his non-photography work is mainly film, and that's the work that I gravitate towards as well.
Yeah.
But his film work within wedding photography is beautiful as well. You got Tech Pataya, TEC, and the surname goes Petaja. His work is just really, really incredible. And the thing with film photographers, which in some ways it's not me at all really, but I gravitate towards it. It's the light moodiness to it, really, the light aspect of it, really. Whereas my work can be very much dark and moody sometimes.
Oh yes, I like dark and moody.
So yeah, those are a couple. Then you got Eric McFay and so many names out there. But yeah, those are a few that you should definitely check out and are doing incredible things.
Yeah, sweet.
Before I ask this next question, can I get my beer, Simon?
Oh my God!
You took it off me earlier. Give me my beer.
Greg was just about to sit down with his beer, and I was like, "No, give me that. I'll give it during the intermission on the podcast." Sorry, Greg. Would you like a day's lager or would you like a day's pale ale?
Pale, please.
Pale. That's the blue. How are you finding the day's beer?
Loving it.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's good.
Anyways,
I'm a good lover of an IPA. So yes,
an IPA. All right. What's your go-to IPA?
Ooh.
Do you have a favorite?
Good question. It's like asking what's your favorite wine,
or favorite child, but it's
not that far.
I'm just a terrible parent. So.
At the moment, I'm really that's the one. At the moment, I'm really enjoying Vocation. Vocation are. I'm pretty sure that they're a distillery or brewer in. I want to say in the Lake District, but it's not. It's definitely an English one.
Yeah, it's definitely English.
And they're incredible. Branding on point, taste on point, and they're everywhere at the moment. To the point that they actually started opening sort of like bars in Manchester. I went to a bar of theirs with my good friend Tom Wright. And we just had this incredible burger there. Nice pint of Vocation, and it was incredible, really. So Vocation is one to find.
Cool. All right, definitely gonna look that one out. I've never heard of it, but great.
So continuing on about your shooting style, how much we've been talking about shooting. How much weighting should people give to their post-production for finding their style?
They very much go hand in hand, because I find that the shooting it's only the sort of like it's only the start of it, really, because depending the type of style shooter you are, whether you shoot for the highlights, shadows, whatever it might be, once you get those files back and start playing in the editing suite, really, that's when the magic will happen, really, and you'll very much find yourself within specific parameters depending on how you shoot. But the editing side of things, it's massive. I find that's massive, really, and it's the one thing that I love to talk about. I love to sort of like push photographers to really look into, because visually that's where you'll be able to really find that, again, unique style of things, really. Using the same examples that I did previously in terms of how they represent themselves within their business. If you look at Sam's work, you'll see, for example, that the highlights tend to be slightly pinkish, and it's a beautiful thing. And you very much will be able to be scrolling through Instagram, and you'll stop at one of his images and you'll know that, oh, that's a Sam image. You know for sure. Whereas Rebecca, you look through her images and you'll see that skin tones are very particular, and very much she has them in a specific way that, again, you're scrolling through Instagram and you're very much like, oh yeah, Rebecca, 100%. You know that from miles away. Yeah. So it's those little things that very much will create your unique style, and breaking those down. And that's what I meant in terms of like studying other photographers, studying their images, breaking them down and seeing what the patterns are, because those are the things that very much create your style, really. Yeah. And yeah, see what the things are that you also really, really like, and the things that you don't like within those styles, and try to emulate them, and then bring your own spin to it, because otherwise you'll just be a copy of someone else, really, a copy of Sam, a copy of Rebecca. But those are some things that people can do in order to very much bring their visual style to the forefront. But yeah, editing, I love it because there's no limits. There's no ways of sort of like doing it that are right, or well, I was going to say wrong. There's definitely ways of doing it wrong. Definitely so. But you can find ways of doing that and very much push it towards the extremes in some ways, if you know what I mean. Yeah. I think that's
what are some of the common mistakes that people make in the post-production phase that you've seen anyway?
First of all, just whack a preset and think that it's beautiful, it's done, really. That's one of the things that that I see people doing so many times, that you just do the bloop and the one-click preset sort of thing.
Yes.
I find that it just creates a sea of sameness. It's boring. It's not elevating the industry. Here you can tell I'm starting on a rant now.
Go for it. We love a good rant on this podcast.
If there's one thing that gets my gripe, it is that, really. But the other thing is, and we all have done it, really, that people tend to the mistake that people tend to do is to just push things too far.
Yeah.
Why is that saturation so neon-y in my eyes, really? The greens. I find that people tend to just play with their greens in a way that is just not, number one, realistic, but number two, appealing, really, to people's eyes, really, because again, if you want to be able to bring consistency, greens are the one thing that really you can shoot all over the world, really. But you'll find that my greens usually tend to be the same, and again, it brings consistency really into it.
Why?
So see, that's the editing police there calling to say that.
You can hear that. Yeah, sorry.
No, that's fine.
We are in a co-working space, so there are people.
No, I absolutely love it, and it's just exactly the same for our podcast. We've got so many gyms, literally, with one above us, one next door.
Gyms, yes. What is it with gyms? People. They are everywhere. We're trying to run YouTube channels, people.
Exactly.
Turn that music
and
off.
There's weights, music and weights literally being dropped on the floor. Bam.
Amazing. But you were saying about the greens, like that. The green color is coming from a person who is not the best colorist, greens are the color that people always get wrong. We went through a stage of getting them wrong. Fuck. You can probably look at one of my films and still think it's wrong. I won't lie. Like, what is it about green? Is it just the fact that it's not our skin color? So it's, or I don't know. What about green?
Yeah, it's the greens and the blues in some ways. The blues, I'll be self-confessed. I don't pay so much more attention as I do to the greens, really. But it's the one constant, really, that is literally everywhere. It's literally everywhere. And I find that it very much, if you're able to very much nail that down consistently, together with skin tones and everything else.
Oh, yeah.
You'll be able to very much create a work that is consistent rather than flip-flopping around and having images that are not cohesive, really. So, yeah, it's an important one. Yeah.
For sure.
Make greens great again.
Make greens great again. I love that. Yeah.
Let's go back in the editing process first, though. How are you with your culling? Like, that's the first stage. Are you good at killing your darlings?
I am brutal.
Yeah.
That's what I usually say. I am brutal at culling. It has changed over the years, but I find that you just got to take that sense of enamorment for the images, the sense of preciousness away.
Yeah.
You just got to forget that and just be brutal. And yeah, most of the times I'm like, no, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. Because yeah, again, you'll be able to bring a sense of consistency and elevate your work in a really beautiful way. At the same time, with AI today, that has just changed the game for me, really. Being able to really just use, whether it's after shoot or Imagen doing their beta phase for culling as well. Whatever you're using, being able to use those programs and just whittling down the time, it has been really, really incredible. And I really enjoy that. And I'm still brutal at it because I'll still do my cull after the cull, if that makes sense.
Oh, you double cull?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Oh, damn.
100%.
Is that normal for photographers to double cull?
I would guess it could be.
Do you double cull?
I only shoot for personal stuff, but I would, I'd go through it, do an initial cull, and then I go back and go, right, what actually is the better one here?
Yeah, okay.
I use a star system.
Do I double
I don't know
cull?
what everybody does.
I suppose I do. In terms of like you made me think here. I'm like, okay, I suppose I do double cull.
Simon's head is blown away.
Oh, what? You double cull? Oh, next you're gonna say you triple cull, you son of a bitch. Sorry, no, on you go. I'll have this brain fart later.
No, but it does happen. So I would put things through my AI program. It spits it out. I'll cull it through the colors, and then eventually select with the numbers what would be sort of like your top images. But when I'm doing that second cull, literally everything that stays within that second cull, everything that happens within that second cull is the ones that are the keepers, really.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Do you ever, when you're doing the first cull, do you ever go no, and then you run out of the specific moment that you wanted to capture, but you realize you've said no during all the moments? Does that ever happen? And then what's your mindset in terms of like, well, they'd rather see the moment than have it be a perfect image? That's
why I love AI so much, really, because it has sort of like done away with the whole no, yes, no, yes. Because now, put it through AI, and when I'm looking through the images now, I'm actually deselecting the images that I want to keep, if that makes sense.
Okay.
It's more of the hit rate is so much better to the fact that I'm actually, you are definitely not here. You're definitely not here. It's more like yes, no, yes,
okay.
no.
Cool.
If that makes sense.
Yeah,
and it just means that the process is so much faster. it's just so much faster. So yes, that's one of the things that I'm loving about it. And what else? What else can I say about culling? Yeah, you just, again, as I said, you just got to be brutal about it. The preciousness that sometimes we have for our images. I know they're our babies, but yeah, you need to sort of like be brutal about it in order to hit a certain level of quality, really, to your images.
Yeah, I think in terms of like culling, I think photographers are lucky because
in comparison to videographers,
and this isn't
100%.
like a us v them thing. I don't mean that. I just mean, and people who create slideshows might understand this a little bit better. But because you've got a certain time limit, you have to then be really aggressive about which clips you put in, because that affects how long each clip after that gets time. So yeah, you have to be brutal. And that's something I struggle with quite a lot, because we tend to overshoot, and then so I don't know.
It's easier for a photographer to say, "Oh, I deliver approximately 700 images," and to deliver 900, than it is to be like, "Oh, we deliver a 5-minute film," and all of a sudden it's a 10-minute film. You're like, that's a big difference there.
Yeah, Greg often gets on at me because I deliver like minutes of film more. And I know I shouldn't. I should not do this.
Brutal.
I've got to be brutal. Think Igor. Channel him into my work. But yeah, I'm going to use using inspiration.
You guys got it harder, 100%. Especially having been doing a lot more video editing over the last couple of years for myself and for educational stuff and whatever else it might be. It's definitely harder.
Yeah,
it's definitely harder, especially from a time point of view as well. It's so time consuming.
Yeah.
So anything that you can do in order to speed up, like being brutal about what you put in and not, go for it.
Yeah, time consuming, soul consuming. Oh man, all the consumings. Yeah.
Simon froze.
He literally froze. Literally.
I actually just froze there.
Not just his brain, but his physical body.
let me lay in behind the scenes here. So on my notes, it's got the next question, but it's got a G next to it, which means that Greg's supposed to ask the question.
Oh, so
but he's not doing it, and he hasn't been doing it for ages. So I'm like, I'll ask the question, and then this part of me was like, don't ask it. It's his question. Don't you dare. But now I'm going to do it because you're just enjoying your... Look at you. Enjoying it. Look at this.
You try to blame me? Try to blame me for that brain fart?
Enjoying his beer. Get back to work, you slacker. Igor, sorry.
I love this. I love the banter.
I mean, this is what we try and go for in the podcast. Just like casual chat. And if it doesn't work, then it's fine. No one's dying. Anyway, Igor, in terms of like how long it takes per editing, how long is your editing process in general?
Ooh, it takes time. It takes me a good 2 days to very much be happy with everything, and then a third day probably, or afternoon really, to just sort of like present everything to my clients really, and whether that's creating slideshows or reordering images in a way that makes really cohesive sense to the story, and at the same time makes images stand out, because sometimes the pairing of images can very much make a massive difference in terms of how the story is presented really. So yes, 2 days is usually the norm, and it also depends of the size of the wedding, because my weddings most of the time tend to be destination weddings. So we're talking about 3 days to 4 days, 2 days of shooting, and you can very easily end up with 15,000 to 20,000 images that you sort of like have to go through and whittle down to however many in the end, really. So yeah.
Yeah. Depending on the size of wedding, like say it's a 3-day Tuscany wedding compared to like a Cornwall micro wedding, are you still aiming for the same amount of images to give your client, or are you very much like maybe you'll inform them a little bit about, you know, the amount of coverage will kind of equate a certain amount of images?
Yeah, exactly that. Because there's no way that would be able to create a 15-minute slideshow of a 3-day wedding with a micro wedding that's shot for 3 hours or so. Yes, I'll be able to do that, but the story would be so boring, so boring, because I would have to fill in so much, and here's a tree, and here's the side of the tree, and here's this, just to introduce introduce the story, and then here's the bride, here's the feet of the bride, here's so whereas I'd rather just do that a lot quicker. So yes. The storytelling element of it is another one that I very much enjoy doing and gravitate towards, because you're telling a story. It's the whole thing why I love cinema and TV series so much, really. We are able to become artists and storytellers that very much have a perspective, have a voice of how this incredible day that you just experienced, and I'm able to tell how it went with my tone, with my artistry. So I do love that. I love that, especially when not just the slides, especially when it comes to albums. That's a whole other ball game, really. And in some ways, I've been sort of like posting images a bit more like how I would curate within an album, for example, because I find that the storytelling element of it's a lot stronger if I'm just sort of like putting image after image after image after image, rather than here's an image and here's 4 images all together that are really cohesive. Mm-hmm. Here are 3 images that very much give a storyline to where they're going. Here's another standout image that perhaps has the background in it, and then I'll put on top of it another image that gives context to the couple and location. So there's so many different ways of doing it, really, but I love it.
I love when you see that in social media, people like overthinking. I saw one where I think I linked to you, Greg. I was like, how do they do this? They put like a moving image behind as a background, and then had an image on top. I'm like, I don't know how to do that yet. So if anyone at Thrive listens to this and knows how to do that, you let me know.
It would have just been a video file.
Oh,
yeah,
really?
Simple.
But it was but the thing is, it was on a carousel as well.
Yeah. So the first carousel was a video with a still image on top of the video, like exported as an MPEG-4. And the next one was, I think, another video, the one you sent me.
So
and then there was more images after that.
So this is the thing. So it was like a longer image. So it was like one image, but one part of it had a movie in it. And so when you moved to the next image, it still had the little video element still playing.
Just 2 separate video files.
Just 2 separate video files. Look at that. I'm learning.
It's clever, isn't it?
Look at that. Unbelievable. Kids these days, the things they're creating. Yeah. Unbelievable.
And this is what we're saying about being excited about people within the industry just bringing different perspectives, because it's incredible. It just shows again that there are no limitations, there are no ceilings really to what you can do with your business creatively and how you show up. And there are no limitations, really.
There are no limitations, absolutely. And there's also, you're never going to know everything. As a prime example, I am one of these people. I've been doing this for 12, 13 years now.
And you know nothing.
I know nothing. What? Anyway, let's talk about your specific, obviously we've talked about your presets and the way that you approach your greens, but how what is your approach in terms of color grading or color correction, I should say, especially because you are a destination wedding photographer, like how are you able to get the greens all the same and create a portfolio that is, cohesive?
Yeah, I think that comes with time, really. And I've been doing this for a long, long time, 13 plus years. But I think that having a preset that is very much consistent it's one. But secondly, the way you approach your images, it's really important as well. So, for example, if I shot a wedding in Tuscany, the way I'm going to edit a wedding that the week before I shot in Iceland, it's going to be very different. In terms of it will be cooler. You'll see the sky slightly cooler and everything else. But again, the greens, I'll try to match it.
Yeah,
I'll try to keep it the same. I'll try to keep it as a constant. And that's a stylistic choice. Is that the reality of it? No, 100% not. But yes, it just means that you achieve a level of consistency that it's very recognizable. Whereas some other people might achieve that level of consistency where there are other there'll be loads of variants within their work, but throughout their work as well, you'll see those consistency perhaps within the highlights, as I said, for some, or perhaps for the skin tones or whatever else. You'll see those consistencies, and again, people or photographers or creatives that are very much able to hone in on those consistencies and make sure that they are throughout the whole set of images. You're laughing. You are the ones that are really gonna be able to bring something that is beautiful, and here we go again, consistent. Because people will be able to gravitate towards that. Yeah.
What would you have to say about people who worry more about the documenting how it actually is compared to like creating an image with a distinct, characteristic?
Sorry, say that again, because I had to plug in my laptop because I realized I didn't actually.
Oh, you had no power?
the power was not on. So we've been doing this all without power.
Oh, well, we're lucky we haven't lost you. Okay, so what would you say to people who were more concerned about, I might have worded this differently, about documenting and creating a documentary image compared to, say, creating something with, a creative flair, like, so the colors aren't exactly accurate, and you're changing the images. What would you say?
I'd say go for it. I would say, again, those are the certain elements that, yes, we've been talking from the side of the visual side in terms of how you edit it, but in terms of how you shoot it as well, it's super, super important, really. And again, your style will very much come from that, really, because if you have a documentary approach that it is quite in your face, in comparison to someone that likes to very much stay back and watch things happen, but still be very much documentary heavy. Those are the things, again, that will become the constants within your work and will, again, create your style. So anything that you are able to bring in as a constant for your work, I'm for it. So yes. Because again, otherwise we'll just all look the same, and that's the beauty of this industry. There's so much variety. There's so much for all different clients out there, really, because people have got different tastes. Art is subjective. You're never going to please everybody. So to be able to have people out there that aren't more documentary heavy and really shout about it in a positive way, and you can really see it within their work, it's incredible.
Looking at people's portfolios, how do people manage diversity in terms of like the colors of people's skin and the tones of greens, and Muslim weddings and Chinese weddings and Scottish weddings, like people who shoot a vast array of different styles of cultures. Like, how do people manage that in a consistent manner?
Such a good question. Yes. I would say that that very much comes from your shooting style and the way you shoot. Really, you've got photographers that very much like to shoot with their Kelvins constantly bouncing around between whatever they're doing. I'm definitely not that, because I try to keep my parameters as simple as possible, the constants as simple as possible, because again, those are the things that will very much create difficulty when you're actually editing. The more options you have when you're editing, it's not options, the more different things you have to sort of like fight for within the edit, the harder it will get to bring consistency later on. So for example, whenever I'm outdoors, or whenever something is lit by natural light, even sometimes when it's indoors, as long as it's lit natural light without being but without having sort of like artificial light too much within it, tungsten light, let's say, it's always on the cloudy setting that I'm shooting in terms of my white balance. And that's a rule that I keep constant, really, because it would just mean that no matter what your skin tone is throughout that, I know that I'll have a consistent base, really. If I'm indoors and light is just silly and drastic, I'll go for the auto wide balance and trust my camera, really.
Okay.
I'm a Canon shooter and have been for many, many years. And that's one of the reasons why I've actually kept shooting with Canon, really, because I love the skin tones that it brings. I love the way it just reads files, really. But by just simply having those two parameters, those two limitations, rather than flip-flopping around with my white balance, which people do, and it's completely fine, but this is how I do it, and I find it works for me, is just simply having those two parameters, cloudy and auto white balance. It just means that you keep things consistent all the way through. And then when you're actually editing, it just means that you've got, in terms of differentiating skin tones, you can very much see it very, very clearly. And it just means that, again, when you're editing it from beginning to end, trying to keep skin tones consistent throughout the whole story, really, it becomes a lot easier, because you might start the story with me, and as a photo of me being taken, it's a lot more darker skin than, let's say, you, Simon, and then by the end of it, I might look slightly more orange or something like that. So to be able to sort of like bring consistency throughout the whole image and seeing the story all the way through, it's really, really important. And I find that photographers sometimes don't pay attention to that. It's very easy to look at a story and see things just varying throughout, really. So it's one of the things that, photographers very much need to, just creatives in general, need to pay attention to a lot more, really.
Yeah. Do you think that's, photographers have often been criticized for having a lack of diversity in their portfolio? Do you think it's because they don't know how to control their portfolio overall, so they just don't show those cultures or anything like that?
It's a mix of the both. It's a mix of the both, really. It's perhaps a mix of, first of all, being a white male wedding photographer in the Cotswolds. You're very much going to get the majority of your clients going to be white couples, really, and the fact that you literally constantly showing that will only attract more white couples, really. So over the past few years, I think that people have been breaking out from that a lot more in terms of like showing ethnically diverse weddings a lot more often, and I think people are being educated a lot more and seeing at the forefront of the industry. We are seeing at the forefront of the industry that yes, you can have an Asian wedding that is absolutely incredible and have skin tones that are beautiful, and in comparison to the all cookie cutter white weddings that we see sometimes, that there's nothing wrong with it, but again, diversity, it just needs to be seen more, really, because there's so much strength in that, really.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I want to go back to the point you were talking about Kelvin, because I know people will be listening to it going, if he chooses a preset for outside, why not go for a preset inside, because then it would be more consistent than auto. So in a bit more detail, like why do you go auto inside rather than going the tungsten white balance?
Makes sense, because as soon as let's say I could go for the tungsten, but then I could, just within the tungsten light itself, so you get different variations. You get different variations of what that tungsten light might be. It might be slightly yellowish. It might be more towards the white. It might be an LED panel that's over there. By keeping it auto white balance, it just means that I'm trusting my camera to sort of like program whatever I'm seeing as being the sort of like reality of it, if that makes sense. So from that, because if I introduce tungsten light as well, again, that's a third variant, and I'm going to be playing around way more than I wouldn't in terms of my edits.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to think of other sort of like white balances settings that are there. For example, I don't know. You could introduce another one for a specific situation. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. You could introduce a white balance for the shadows. Oh, it's quite shadowy here. There's no sun really.
Yeah.
I could shoot with that, but again, you're adding another variant, which will make it a lot harder for you to achieve consistency when you're actually in the editing room.
Yeah. Cool.
Is that the same approach when you work with a second shooter? Do you tell them, it's okay to shoot auto for these places because of whatever reason, and then does that affect your editing moving forward?
Yes.
Okay.
Try to keep it cohesive and consistent between the two of us, but at the same time, I've had second shooters in the past, and in some ways, this is the thing that very much made me. I'm not sure about second shooters. You come in here, you bring your Sony files, and
hey, what's wrong with Sony? Oh my god!
It's the
green. It's the Sony greens, isn't it?
Yes, exactly.
Goddamn hater over here.
How did you know? And again, it just adds a different variant, really. But if it is a photographer that I really like their style and everything else, it just means that I will have to work harder in terms of having achieving consistency between what I do, really, between my images and their images. But I fought hard at that. But no, it works. It works, and you can achieve that consistency. Really, it just means that you have to work a bit harder, really.
A follow-up question then. So let's talk to the people who are doing second shooting for people. Do you have any tips then regarding like portfolio consistency and like what and when to take a picture, or all those kind of things that second shooters maybe don't think about? They just go and go to a wedding and just shoot, and they capture a moment. It's just for coverage, but they don't really think about the lead shooter's brand or colors or anything like that. Do you have any tips?
Yes, 100%. Again, just study their work, study the work of your primary shooter, really, in order to see what are the things that their eye gravitates towards, because those are the shots that he or she will be bound to use and bring to the story at the end of the day. Because otherwise, it's so easy to. So many times I've had shots from second shooters that I just simply wouldn't use simply because mine's better and it's probably easier to edit, and two, the angle and the composition of it is just not what I would go for, really. So studying the primary shooter's work is, in terms of how they edit, it's one thing, or what they like to capture, but the composition is another one. It's massive, really. You get certain photographers that love to leave subjects to the left side or to the right side, or whatever it may be, really. I like it central. And it doesn't necessarily mean that it happens all the time, but the way you do that really, really matters. I think, again, just study and don't be afraid of asking questions that might sound silly, because those are the things that you'd rather know than not know, if that makes sense. Whereas, yes, I might explain to the second shooter that I like to do it, shoot this way, shoot that way. If you can do it that way, that would be amazing. But at the same time, over the years, I've just grown a lot more relaxed, really. I find that especially if it is a photographer that I really like, I want you to actually have a good experience, because I know that the images that you're going to get will be a lot nicer if your experience of what you're doing is better said. I'd want me to be treated, if I was a second shooter, I would want to be treated as a primary shooter. That's better said, really, because I want them to be able to literally run around and try and get as much as possible and have fun with it. That's it.
Cool. Yeah. Awesome. Sweet. This is the question that Rebecca and everyone's been waiting for. Can he say it? Can he say it? So you're going to be at Thrive. You're going to do your talk, but
I'm nervous now. You've
also got your shoot session. Yes, fucking said it right. What are people going to be learning when they book you and you take them out into Glasgow, into Brighton? The practical elements, like what are you going to let them in for?
I'll be very much teaching people how to read light and how to look for good light, because with good light, you've won half of the battle, if not more, really. You'll be able to really put your subject in a position that is really, really flattering. If you wanted to be able to be creative and tell a different side of the story, fair enough. That's a different aspect of it, but knowing how to read good light is crucial, really. Then, as you've placed your subject in your good light, I'll teach you very much how to work your angles, really, how to shoot around them. And in fact, in some ways, I already skipped one massive big point, which is, yes, you find good light, but find a good location, really. And within a good location, I don't mean that it needs to be an incredible landscape in Iceland. It's literally looking for textures, looking for composition, because if you hit those and nail in the head, you'll be able to really create images that are beautiful. And within those parameters, then yes, start working around capturing beautiful details and how to achieve a good set of images, a good story within literally 5 minutes. You don't need long. You really, really don't need long. So I'll be able to show you how to really be quick and effective within that, and how you can walk away with loads of images that you literally will be saying yes, no within the call. In a way that you'll be rather like, I can do this in a short amount of time, should I only get 5 minutes at a wedding for whatever reason. It just means that you maximize it the most, because on a wedding day, things are really fast paced, really. So you'll be able to go from one location to the other location to the other location, just get a good variation of the story, really. And I love that. I love being able to sort of like take my couple, and it doesn't need to be an hour session, definitely not. It usually tends to be like 20 minutes, whatever else it is, depending on the light. and being able to literally have different scenarios in a quick amount of time.
Yeah.
That I think that will be one of the biggest takeaways for everybody, really.
Hell yeah.
Cool.
Awesome.
Yeah. So, in wrapping up, we always like to ask a couple of questions in general. Do you have any book recommendations for the listeners, whether that's photography books or business or anything in general?
The book I'm reading at the moment is 100 Million Offers by Alex Hormozi. Alex Hormozi, he's a genius. He's a business guy that really has got a tap, has really got his pulse in the industry, really. So that's a great business book in terms of how you see leads as offers and how you can make those offers, let's say, being brought more consistently towards your business, really. So yeah, that's a great book.
Not heard of that one before.
No, me neither.
Yeah, Alex Hormozi, he's popping. You've probably seen him all over Instagram, all over TikTok, and especially all over YouTube. But he's got this book that is really cheap. Again, he just wanted to make it available to the masses, really. And I want to say it's something like ridiculous, like £1, or 99 cents. But it's a really, really good book. Your head will come out hurting, especially in the second section where it's just numbers.
But you know it's a good book when your head hurts.
Yeah. But he explains things in such a relatable way that you are like, oh, okay, yeah, I can do this. I get that. And I can implement it into my business. So yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Last question then. For our newcomers in the industry, do you have any advice, or just one tidbit for them that they can implement right now, like a tip for success? What would you tell them to do?
I have said it already, and you sort of like it won't come as a surprise, really. But study the industry as much as possible, really, because that awareness of what's around you will very much give you a chance to very much set yourself apart from everybody else, because you know what's popping, you know what's around you, really. So you can very much decide to, I'm going to go this way over here that is completely opposite to what majority is doing, and that way very much set yourself apart. But the other one would be to just shoot as much as possible. And I'm so bad at this over the years. I've shot less and less for myself, and I want to sort of like, and I'm finding myself having to create projects in order to sort of like get my camera out and shoot, because it happens less and less. But it's the one thing that keeps your work fresh and keeps your eyes sharp, really. So shoot as much as you possibly can, because you'll find the benefits from it so valuable.
Yeah, agreed. Awesome. Well, that brings us to the end of the podcast. So Igor, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
Where can people find you online?
People can find me everywhere under Igor Demba, IGORDEMBA. And yeah, come check me out. If you enjoyed the episode, feel free to get in touch in the DMs on Instagram or wherever else, because I consider myself being very much an open book. So yeah, if you have any questions or anything else, just let me know.
Awesome. And people can find us at cinematefilms.co.uk on Instagram, Facebook, and on YouTube at Perspective by Cinemate. You can subscribe to us there. This episode has been brought to you by Photography Farm in anticipation of Thrive. Get ready for your 2-day workshop with an all-star wedding photography cast of mentors. I'm very excited about it. On my printed notes, I have lost all the blurb, but I know it's happening on the 20th and 21st of March. It's happening now as you're listening right now. The 20th, 21st of March in Brighton, and 23rd, 24th of March in Glasgow. There's a whole host of awesome things happening, and you can book your shoot sessions with all your favorite heroes. So see them in action, all that kind of good stuff. You get a killer goodie bag. What else do you get? Food. You get to hang out with your industry peers. I mean, come on, it's so good. And if you have liked this episode, you can hit that subscribe button where I mentioned at youtube.com/app Perspective by Cinemate. Or you can just download wherever you get your podcast. That's absolutely fine. We hope to see you in the next episode. However,
in the meantime,
enjoy your thrive.